Yes, I'm just waiting. Yep. Okay, so we're live. It is about 22 of a series of lives that we're doing this evening that are in bite-sized portions, about an hour long each. We're going to be on this live talking about another subject, which is still under the umbrella of everything we've been talking about thus far. I'm here with Eco Dave.
Yeah, okay. So in this section, we're going to be talking about a vegan lifestyle or a more simplistic lifestyle. It's fine. Yeah, it's just the. So we're going to be talking about a more simplistic lifestyle. So just a brief background. We've only got an hour, so I'm going to try to bring as much information into this as I can. I would say have a look at the options of a vegan lifestyle, because in my opinion, it's a lot simpler. And you know, you can actually really refine yourself and your lifestyle and even your body by becoming vegan. You know, I was a vegetarian for a long time, and then I came into veganism, you know, a while back as well. So, well, quite a while back, and I would recommend it to anybody who's interested in it. I would certainly recommend it. Your life becomes a lot simpler, and what I've noticed as well through doing, you know, having a refined diet, is that I don't have as much stress. You know, how can I say that some of the things that used to happen before, you know, don't happen anymore. So I feel a lot lighter. I know that for sure. You know, because so much of your energy is maybe taken up with, you know, with digestion of meat and dairy products. In fact, there's research out there that suggests that about 80%, if you're eating meat regularly on a daily basis, then you're kind of losing about 80% of your energy. Now, wouldn't it be wise just to free up that energy? And then the rest is, you know, is available to you. So it certainly frees up a lot of your energy. And then, you know, you can be more creative. You know, you can play the piano, or you can write poetry, you can read books, or you can, you know, paint or whatever. So you can certainly use that energy. But if you're sitting, you know, as a couch potato, done it myself, did it many years ago, but as you're sitting there as a couch potato, just watching TV because you're you know, you're digesting meat basically, which stays in your system between 3 and 7 days, by the way, and then there's remnants for years. So, you know, if you're spending all of your energy, you know, just processing that, because what you find as a vegan is that the food actually, when you do it for a long period of time, you select the foods that you want, you know, that you're drawn to, you know, and or raw foods even, or certain foods that you're drawn to, and your body refines itself over a period of time, and you basically process your food from start to finish as it enters your mouth, and you know, as you eliminate it, 24 hours. That's it, no longer. But if you're eating like you know, things that congest you or just, you know, block your system, for example, meat or cheese or certain dairy products, you know, that might be in your body for a long time, you know. So I would certainly recommend, as having a vegan lifestyle for a long time, I would certainly recommend to anybody to try it out. So maybe for, you know, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, and then see how you go. It's not something you can do overnight. It's not something, right, I'm eating meat and then I'm gonna, like, you know, it's a transition. Yeah. I think you've been discussing certain, you know, transitioning to certain, you know, to certain dietary, refined dietary, you know, program. You eating meat and dairy, what really changed the playing field for me was after doing research on the amount of growth hormones they put into cows. And you can, there are a lot of documentaries online. Cowspiracy is one, Forks Over Knives. There are so many documentaries out there discussing, you know, and it's an ethical, you know, ethical side as well. But a lot of the information in the documentary is also discussing what they're actually putting in the animal. Now, if they're putting these things into the animal, you are getting it secondhand. So imagine they want to make maximum profit, and they want to gain as much as they can from that one cow, they're going to pump that cow up to yield as much as it can. So that's basically the growth hormone. And then there's vaccines as well. So basically they're pumping in growth hormone into the cow, and then that's being passed on to the human. So you can understand how the obesity crisis is happening in America. It's happening in the UK to a certain degree, and in many other, places around this, the earth plane that we live in. So if you research into this, do you really want to, it's almost like, do you really want to be one of these, do you want to kind of like be bulked up like from taking these growth hormones? I choose not to. I don't want to be influenced by, by chemicals that are put into the meat or into the dairy. So I abstain totally. I've disconnected from all of that. I don't eat meat, of course. I don't eat any dairy products. I basically have a very simple diet where I'm still having, a good diet, but I'm only eating, vegetables basically. And vegan is if you go raw vegan. So you basically don't cook your food, because in cooking foods, a lot of your, the nutrients are lost. Whereas if you just eat, the raw, you're getting all the nutrients. So we're talking about salads. I mean, there's actually, when you become a vegan, there's so many options out there, and for cooking, I really enjoy cooking as well. So you can really expand your abilities as a chef, so-called, and if you look on Instagram, wow, so many great tips on veganism, on dishes, you can look on my channel as well. I put a lot of vegan content on there as well.
Yeah. And
it's just so easy when you look at how to make it, and there's so many different salads you can make. And then of course it depends if you're non-gluten or gluten. I mean, I stay clear of even like breads so much, and a little bit of pasta now and again, because to change up your diet. But if you can go like raw vegan, that's even better. Salads, and then just eating your food basically uncooked. And the thing that really did it for me was when I started researching about a guy called Dr. Sebi. Now this guy revolutionized dietary systems overnight, and what he came out with. And basically he has which is something I've incorporated also on my channel, the 3-step process. And that is basically eliminating all processed foods. So anything that's manufactured that is not natural, basically all processed foods are very harmful because they're full of chemicals. Not only the chemicals, if you look on the labels, there's so many nasty chemicals in there. And then there's if you research even further, ingredients like for enhancers, sweeteners, and things like that. Aspartame, which came out many years ago in fizzy drinks and things like that. That's really bad for you. So, try to get off all the processed foods. That's the step number 1. Step number 2 is actually, and Dr. Sebi talks about this as well. So once you eliminate all processed foods, then you can refine your diet even more and get into what's called an alkaline diet. So then you're choosing foods that are on the alkaline scale. So, the scale basically determines the pH level. And basically all foods above 7 and above are alkaline. Now, your avocados, your cucumbers, your watermelons, all your fruits, etc., they're all naturally alkaline. Except for the citrus fruits, they might be acidic, but the body processes them. After processing, they become more alkaline. So there's a lot of options out there. So by basically choosing an alkaline diet, like I say, 7 and above, they say, how do you know that the food is alkaline? Well, you can actually research it, and then what you can do is when you actually eat these alkaline foods, your body becomes alkaline. So, and then you say, how do you know that? Well, you can test it. So you can buy these little strips on Amazon for there's 100 strips, about 6-7 pounds. And you can actually you put them in your mouth in the morning, and you can test your pH level. So you really want to aim for about 7 to 7.5. So that's the optimum, 7, 7.5. That's the optimum level. But if you go 8, 8.5, it's fine. It just becomes more alkaline. And then what you can do is with water is use a distiller. They're about 50, 60 pounds on Amazon. And basically use your tap water, just like normal. But then the distiller basically removes all especially fluoride, which is the big one, and the chlorine, which is in the water. So
that's a major one.
These are really harmful chemicals. If you distill your water, then you get impure water, basically.
And big shout out to Trinity 4. He did a video showing how much crap.
Look at his channel, Trinity 4, Dave Mannell. He actually did a video on this, showing how much. And
he just does it at home. Like
how much.
Crap.
Yeah, how much kind of was left over after process, after distilling the water.
Bodies, everyone,
for sure, yeah.
We're currently putting this government juice. It's government juice.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it is. It's government juice. It's coming out of the taps. It's nothing other than that.
So that's also distilling your water. And then people ask me, well, hang on, how do you get your nutrients? Well, you can get all your nutrients can be provided by all the fruits and vegetables that you eat. There's abundance of nutrients in all the fruits and vegetables that we eat.
Yeah.
So, even if some are taken out of the water, then you can reintroduce them into your body by eating fruits and food. And also you can actually, you can get all your water from just eating fruit.
Yeah.
And a watermelon is 95% water. A cucumber is 95% water. So you can actually live on fruit alone. I mean, I wouldn't advise it for, as you're starting off, but you can live on fruit. So what you want to do is, just distill your water, and then you can test yourself every morning or any time of day. And then you can and you want to aim for like 7.5. Now, the other side, and Dr. Sebi talks about this extensively. The other side is the acidic side. So if you're eating acidic foods, if you're eating foods that are, acidic in nature, processed foods, they're all acidic basically. Then on the scale, you start moving into the 5, the 6, the doing is making your body acidic. Now, Dr. Sebi proved this by the examples he did and his research that the illnesses thrive in acidic environments. So cancer, all of those, cancer is actually molds and fungi and bacteria. They thrive. That's what they eat. They eat the acidic content in any vessel, basically. Yeah. So if you're eating an acidic diet, then your body will become more acidic, and you may or may not have problems. That's where a lot of the problems happen. And the medical industry don't want you to know about this. So, but if you research this, you'll understand this. If you can maintain above 7 to 7.5. You can have a preventative or a proactive view on basically preventative medicine. You don't get, food is actually medicine, but you don't get to the point where you need the pills. Of course, you're going to have, if you cut your finger or whatever, you're going to need, maybe antibiotics. That we're not talking about. I'm talking on a general level and talking about on a dietary level as well. But you want, if you're in the alkaline, you're looking more of a preventative health and proactive. But if you go into the acidic side, it's curative. And they give you pills. Those pills won't cure you. Those pills just, suppress the symptoms. And you still have the illness. But it just, you don't know, it just suppresses it basically, yeah? So anybody that may be watching this or may be dealing with health issues, I would certainly suggest refine your diet, get into an alkaline diet. Look at Dr. Sebi. You can certainly email me. But I'm just saying I've done a bit of research, and from what I've come across is that an alkaline diet is very advantageous. Yeah. So certainly have a look at that. But like I say, a lot of these so-called illnesses are caused by having an acidic diet. Now, if you have an acidic diet, things will get worse. But you can, again, if you can be preventative and proactive and get yourself into an alkaline diet. Research Dr. Sebi. Big shout out to D Murphy 25 as well. He's also discussed this. He's gone into this. So hi, Dave, if you're watching. Certainly have a look at this. So that's step 2. And now step 3 also incorporates the distilled water. So I'm talking about fluoride. Step 3 is eliminating all fluoride from your daily lifestyle. Now you're going to say, well, hang on, toothpaste. Well, toothpaste has toothpaste. There are alternatives to toothpaste. So toothpaste is actually full of chemicals, and it comes in a form that it is actually like a gel. Now we're not supposed to take gels into our body. They actually, what they do, they clog up the body. Yeah. So you can actually remove, fluoride from your lifestyle. I.e., number 1 is the water. Use distilled water if you can, or find a natural water. And then number 2 is I would recommend to choose an alternative, form of dental hygiene. So there are many alternatives out there. There's again, I'm not endorsing, I'm not trying to sell anything. This is something I usually carry with me. This I use, but I don't have any, anything to do with this. What you can use is like charcoal tooth powder, which has the double benefit that it actually brightens your teeth up, and actually not only does it clean your teeth, but it also whitens your teeth as well. Now you just brush it, basically dip your toothbrush in in natural water if you can, distilled water, then dip it into the charcoal tooth powder, brush cup, as you usually do. And you notice that your mouth becomes black. But again, you just swill it out as you would normally do. So there's no difference in the method. It's just, and what you notice is that basically you don't have that gunk in your mouth. You don't have that gel in your mouth. Now, so I'm just going to show this on camera. You can buy this on Amazon. So there's the product there. It's about £2-3. Lasts for about 2 months if you use sparingly, 2 or 3 months. And it's fully available. If you go to Instagram, I'll put a link there. Again, I don't have any affiliation with this. I just use it. I've noticed the benefits. So there for this my channel as well. So you have a look at that. It's available. And then there's all different brands, ranging from a couple of pounds right through to 10, 15 pounds. I wouldn't advise paying that much because it's all the same. It's just basically how they process it is they just burn bamboo, and then they burn it and it becomes charcoal. It's not wood, it's bamboo. And then it just becomes charcoal, and then they basically take that. It's all 100% pure. No additives, no preservatives, no chemicals. Absolutely no chemicals whatsoever. So a nice pure product, as we should be having. Our bodies need pure products, basically. Yeah.
I use the aloe vera one.
Aloe vera is fine. Also, it's pure as well. So you can ask me what are the benefits. So removing fluoride from your daily lifestyle. Basically, I did, again, a long time ago, or quite a while back, been using charcoal tooth powder for a long time now. But after researching Dr. Sebi, I thought, well, I'm going to test it for myself. I've got nothing to lose. Yeah. I'm still going to have clean teeth. It's going to have whiter teeth. What's there to lose? So I thought I'm going to give this a try. So, okay, I'm going to have a go at this. I got a couple of, bought a couple of these. And then I just kind of, over a course of about a month or 2, I thought, oh, I'll give it a go for a couple of months, see how it goes, So the first day, didn't really notice any difference. The second day, nothing really. Third day, first week, didn't notice any difference. And then the second week, not much different. Well, slightly, there wasn't much difference. The third week, and then between the third and fourth week, I woke up one morning and I was like, oh, now I understand. Now I know what they're talking about. I woke up and I didn't have the brain fog, the cloudiness, the repetitive thoughts that we all get because we're putting these chemical things into our body. So after the fourth week, it was like almost like a light bulb moment. It was like, now I understand what Dr. Sebi's talking about now, because I don't have the cloud. When you wake up and you're kind of cloudy, or the fogginess, or I have a clear mind when I wake up, and I don't get those repetitive thoughts every day. The same thoughts you have all the time, all the time, that you keep in the background, the same thoughts. I might get some, of course, because it depends what you're dealing with. If you're focused on this, and then it's going to be repetitive thoughts, but I don't get those constant same thoughts, and for that, I don't get stressed. I mean, I might in some situations maybe stress, whatever. whatever, but I don't get the stress as I used to. I don't get the negativity or the certainly the laziness or the lackadaisicalness or all of that, all of those qualities that I would go were, a lot. It's almost like a computer again. I'm going to use the analogy, but my processor works a lot quicker now than it used to before when I was using fluoride. So it seems like fluoride could be almost like a virus in a computer, which slows you down. So I've kind of done the antivirus thing, and I've actually removed that from my lifestyle, and now I have like a clearer mind. I'm really more focused on things. So I would certainly recommend that to anybody to look into it and try it. It might take a month, might take 2 months, 3 months, whatever. But what it is, it's a detox. Now I'm going to get a little bit deeper now. I'm going to go into what the fundamentals. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I've actually researched this. What actually happens is when you're using large amounts of fluoride in your daily life, via the water or via via toothpaste, whatever, what it does over a period of time, it clogs up your glands. So all of your glands in your body clogs it up, almost like an oil filter on a car. So over time, that will become more clogged, and if you don't replace it, it's just going to be more clogged. And what's going to happen over time? That oil filter will not function anymore, and the engine's going to break down. It's not going to function anymore. It's going to stop, basically. So that is the effect that fluoride has. So what you notice is that, and also it calcifies the pineal gland. You can go into, there's a lot of research being done about that. So we, on this hangout, we only have about an hour, so I don't really want to go too much deep into that. I would certainly recommend other channels that have done that. And again, if you've got queries, you can ask me about that. If you've got any inquiries you want to ask about that, I can certainly shoot you a link or whatever. But what it does, it calcifies the pineal gland. Yeah. So basically, by detoxing that, you detox your body. So your body can function better. Your body can actually function in a more efficient way and process things that are coming in. Giving that a go, and certainly, there's no, it's to use this is no different to using what you're using before. And again, basically, you're detoxifying yourself. And then, but it's no good doing that and not doing the previous. If you're still loading yourself up with processed food, so it ain't going to work. So you've got to, that's again, 1, 2, and 3, eliminate processed foods, eliminate eliminate the processed foods, get yourself on an alkaline diet. Now I'm going to go into more detail about that on the next not tonight, but on other hangouts. So I'll go into more detail on that. So get yourself on an alkaline diet. Again, it's all there on Amazon. You can get the sticks and whatever, and you can test yourself. It's almost like and there's usually about 5 different indicators on there. One is pH, the other one is glucose, etc., etc. So you can just test yourself every day and just keep on top of it. You don't have to do it every day. You can do it every week, whatever, And then the third one is eliminating all fluoride from your lifestyle, basically. And then that's basically a detox. And just give it a try and see what the results are. Give it a try for yourself on an individual basis. And again, research Dr. Sebi, and then you can get all the information there. And there's other channels as well. And then give it a try yourself and see what the results are. Now, so basically, your body becomes basically purer and more refined, basically. Yeah. Now I'm going to get back to meat and dairy. If you're basically eating meat and dairy, all the time, what you're basically doing, not only taking those chemicals in, but you're also taking in the next. And I'm against all forms of, animal processing for profit, because we don't have to do that. Animals should live their whole lifespan, and they can still provide, whatever in a natural way, but they should be able to live a whole lifespan, not a reduced or, fraction of their natural lifespan. So I'm totally against factory farming. If you watch those documentaries like Forks Over Knives, Cowspiracy, it's horrific how those animals get treated. Chickens, cows, all the pigs, all the same. They're just there for profit. They're only there for profit. Yeah. So basically, you know, have a look at that. I'm not saying, you know, I'm recommending to, you know, have a look at vegan lifestyle, have a look at it, you know, and if you view those, you know, those documentaries, you understand that we, you know, it's basically, we shouldn't be doing that to animals, basically. You know, they're not there for our, you know, they're not there as a resource for, you know, our enjoyment or, you know, for food. We can live with, I've been living without animal products for years and years and years. We can, look, I'm still here. We can live, in fact, you might live longer, because there are statistics now that say, right, if you eat meat and dairy, you have an 85% chance of coronary disease by the time you're 50. If you eat a vegetarian lifestyle, there's about 20% chance of coronary disease and other diseases by the time you're 50, and beyond that, 60, 70, etc. If you're a vegan, there's only 4%. So imagine going from 80%, you know, and that's very costly. If you start going into those areas where you have eating those kind of things, it's very costly. Yeah. Maybe in other countries, you know, lesser so in the UK, but that's a high statistic, you know, to have. Now, we don't need to eat meat and dairy. We don't need it, basically, and it's not. We were never actually meant.
Can I ask an honest question?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, yeah,
meat, because I'm not, you know, I'm not a vegan.
Yeah.
Is like being not a vegan like sustainable in as far as humanity?
That's a great question.
As far as
that's a great question.
Concerned on this black plane, how long is it? Because I know that the amount of land it takes to grow the crop to feed the animal in the first place. If we just turned that land over to growing crops for humans, wouldn't there just be no hunger?
Exactly, and
like,
great question. Now, if you research this, all land that's processed, of all the land that's processed for food, 80% of all land goes to meat production, the farming of animals. 80% of that goes to basically meat production or meat processing. Yeah, 80%. So now, you know, we can change this system by, if let's say more and more people become vegan, we can reduce that to lesser, however, on a sliding scale, reduce it. But then we can feed the planet. We can feed all the people here and all different societies. We can feed all the people in this, you know, Earth system that we live in. We can feed them. So if we reduce it down less and less, you know, we can actually feed everyone on this plane system. There would be no hunger, there would be no starvation, there would be provisions for everyone. So if we really reduced it on a sliding scale, really low to a low percentage, let's say 10, 20%, we could actually feed everyone on this Earth plane, basically, yeah. And exactly, you know, 50% that we twice as much. You know, we could feed 50%. We could feed twice as many people. And then down to about 20%, we could feed everyone. So there's a surplus there, isn't there? You know, 4 or 5 times over, basically, the whole population. Do you know that there's countries, you know, that basically the children are starving to death? The children are starving because the food production system that they have in their countries, the food is generated for profit, and it's then shipped to other countries to feed cattle, to feed livestock. So where's the priority? People are actually putting their priority in animals where they should be feeding their local population. So those adults and children are going hungry because of these corporations are taking all of the produce from their countries and using it for profit to, you know, for meat processing, for meat production. Now, I have to take a stand on this. I think that's wrong. I think that people, you know, we're very fortunate in the West, in the UK and America. There's, you know, we have a good food system. But when you have other countries where there's not an infrastructure like we have in the West, and they only have their, you know, the basics. I know I know there are other people doing, other channels, and they've talked about this as well, and you can research that. But, I have to take a stand. This is wrong. That people should not be starving because there's a priority for that food to go to animals. And you can research this. Don't believe me. Don't take my word for it. It's written down. Even the UN, they've published papers on this. Children first, not using the food that they should have in their mouths to then feed animals that are then slaughtered for profit. So I'm going to take a stand and say that, that they need to be the first that are fed, basically. Yeah. Now there are people doing things, and the system is slowly changing, but where are our priorities as the human race? We should be feeding everybody, and we can. So easy, like there's so much wastage in the UK of food that's thrown away. I mean, that food can be reprocessed, it can be used, it can be recycled, it can be given up, and it is to some degree. But we need to be putting our efforts into feeding these third world countries and feeding the children of those third world countries. If you go onto my Instagram page, I've actually recently produced a banner that I'm going to use, and all the information's on there. Again, that information has been researched. It's been, from published papers, whatever, etc. So if you have a look at that, there's a banner, vegan banner on there, and if there's certain statistics on that, you can have a look at that. But we should not, children and adults should not be going hungry in those countries. We shouldn't be taking their food source. It's wrong. We should not be taking food from those countries. They should be the first primary. If there's any left over, that can be used again. It can be used as a means of generating money for other things, social welfare in that country. So I don't disagree if it's used for social welfare, but the priority should be in feeding the population of that country, not of us taking that. We don't, we've got excesses of food, and those people have no food. So we should be actually, we should actually not be taking their food away from them. So have a look at that. That's what I'm saying. Have a look at that. And as a vegan, there's on the banner, and we can end world hunger by going vegan, especially the young guys. When I was younger, there wasn't so many options. I mean, I've been a vegan a long time, been a vegetarian a long time, but there wasn't so many options for us when we were younger. But now as youngsters, the youngsters are really getting on board with this. And you can benefit from this lifestyle. You can really benefit. Because when you're 20, 30, or even younger, I know people are I was speaking to a lady the other day, people are, starting from a very young age. And I was speaking to somebody who's actually just had a newborn. She said, I'm going to, try and choose a vegan lifestyle for this, and that they won't know any different. So when they get to the age of 56, they won't have problems. And if you can start off at this as a young age, like 14 or 10, or, you ask your parents about this. But if you can start off at a young age, before adulthood,
We're here.
Okay, we're here. Yeah, that's fine.
Just had a technical glitch, but yeah, what do you think it's the most important?
Again, it's in my opinion, we can actually go back to a more simple way of life, and we can actually start using smaller cooperatives. So we can basically, this boils down again, making things simpler and not having such a footprint in nature. So not using less resources, and using those resources that we do have more wisely.
Yeah. Not
the massive, factory farming that we have of animals, of course, which in my opinion is wrong. They're not there for our benefit. and for our taste. That's what it boils down to, because that taste only lasts for a few seconds. But what they have to go through for that, it's horrific.
Well, someone said the reason not to eat industrial meat is probably because it's filled with poison and hormones.
Exactly.
Veganism is probably not going to change the exchange rate.
So it's filled with chemicals and hormones.
Poison.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is that you can source vegetables, you know, organically. You can source fruits organically. So I agree with your comment, certainly. I mean, but, you know, if you're eating meat and dairy, wow, you know, you're putting things into your body that really shouldn't be there.
Someone else said, an Irish work colleague who knows a farmer told me they literally throw truckloads of raw food away because it doesn't match the structure designated by the supermarkets.
Exactly.
That's disgusting.
Exactly. So
someone else has said farming is now controlled by the corporate vampires along with education.
It's for profit, guys. It's for profit. And where do you stop? Once you start doing things for profit, where do you stop? Because it's just a cycle. It's just a cycle.
Someone else said UN, ugly and unnecessary. The UN.
Well, we get into, maybe that's another hangout, but certainly, you know, there are some plus and to everything. Everything has plus and minus, but certainly, you know, we talk about the UN with flat Earth, certainly, yeah, because.
Someone else said, you know, farmers in India are killing themselves through debt.
Yes.
Someone else has said vaccines on animals too. Right, you eat meat and absorb the vaccine. When you eat the vaccines that the animals have had.
Yeah, so you absorb that into your body. So you're absorbing you're absorbing that chemical into your body. Imagine mercury. Imagine all of those nasties going into your body. No
GMOs
thanks.
are already in the UK.
Certainly, you have to be very careful what you're choosing to eat. Certainly.
And the problem.
Stay away from soya. If you say about, people say, "Oh, what's an alternative?" I don't drink any milk. Doesn't matter whether it's soya, almond, whatever, because most of it's sourced from GMO. Okay. So I would stay away from soy milk because that also has the same, because it's GMO, it has the same bulking effect, basically. You know, stay away from almond. Just herbal teas. You know.
Someone else has said the problem with the value of currency is that. Sorry, the problem is the value of currency of that country, not the meat consumption.
To a certain degree, but then, you know, it's like you have a right to have the food for that country. You know, currencies fluctuate. Look, Venezuela. Venezuela is in a terrible state right now.
Some people are saying
because that can change overnight. So that fluctuates. But you know, and that's a really and Venezuela was the richest country in South America, by the way. And just because of the politics and because of the, you know, because they were kind of pushed out of the club, which is another hangout, but because they were, you know, the whole economy is now gone. And if you want to look at how bad things can get, have a look at Venezuela, and it's online basically. You know? But yeah, go ahead.
Someone has said rice has arsenic in it, and someone else has said fish have loads of mercury in them. Definitely,
yeah. I would stay away from fish as well, because the seas are polluted now. Plastics, all these fish are eating plastics, and the rice in China, they're actually making they supplement the rice with plastic. They put plastic in the rice. There's been a big uproar about that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, people are digesting plastic.
Are you for real?
Yeah, no, there's been a big uproar about that in China. Yeah, you can also research this as well. They put plastic in the plastic rice. Yeah, yeah. So don't quote me. You have to do research a little bit, but I would certainly stay away from I would stay away from seafood as well, because of all the toxins in the oceans now, the plastics. There's a really interesting guy that I follow basically on Instagram. If you check out my Instagram account, you'll see his channel. One of the guys I follow there. His name is Ben Lecomte, and his channel is Ben Lecomte The Swim. Now, he swam the Atlantic Ocean several years ago, and he crossed it, and he was successful. Shout out to you, Ben, if you're watching this in the middle of the Pacific, because he's in the middle of the Pacific right now, and he's swimming the entire Pacific Ocean. The first guy will be, if he's successful, will be the first guy to do this. But what they're doing it for is scientific research about the pollution of the oceans, and they're basically highlighting the pollution of the oceans. And what miles offshore now from any landmass, basically, yeah, and they're still coming across so much plastic. And all the sea life now are eating all these plastics, and probably a bit further along his journey, they reckon it's between. Again, you can see on my channel, I did a video about this. Between in the Pacific Ocean, in the middle there's a plastic island now, the size of Texas. the size of Texas. There's a plastic island, and it's just swirling around because of the currents. Now, something's got to be done about this, guys, because we can't go on like this. Really, we cannot go on like this. But have a look at this guy, because he's a really interesting guy, and they're doing research on board, so that's what's funded their trip. And again, shout out to Ben and to All on Seeker, which is their support vessel. So there's a lot. You know, we're all watching you and wishing you the best success, and keep up with the research. Thank you. So, you know, I would stay away from all meats. You know, certainly cattle, certainly pork, and chickens. You know, I don't want to put names on this channel as well, but all the fast food places, what you think you're getting and what they're actually giving you may be something different. Because if you see how it's processed, and again on the documentaries, if you watch the documentaries, how it's processed, how these so-called burgers are processed, it's not, it's not what you think you're getting, guys. You know, and a lot more so, especially with the enhancers and the flavorings and all of that. So you know, so don't you want to take responsibility for what you're putting in your body? You are what you eat. The old saying, you are what you eat. So, you know, I would certainly suggest take responsibility for what you're eating. And again, it's not that difficult. You know, the transition to vegan lifestyle, it's quite simple. There's so many, you know, options there. I didn't notice a big difference when I went from, you know, vegetarian to vegan. It's, you know, you just have to be a little bit kind of, when you're checking labels, things like that, do a bit of research online, what you're planning to buy food. It doesn't take long. Just a quick look at the label, see that it's natural ingredients, and there's a lot of options out there. You can actually mix and match things. You know, I would stay clear from canned foods if you can, because, you know, on the processing side of things, try and eat natural. Again, you can get, I think Waitrose have just introduced a new vegan line. But again, I was saying to Roxanne earlier, offline, still you have to check, even if it says vegan on the packaging, still check, because they might be saying vegan, but it might be just, you know, packaging, not necessarily so. It could be the same product. So you have to, you know, I certainly check everything out, you know. But what I'm saying is it's not such a difficult transition or movement to go from one lifestyle to another. It takes, you know, a couple of months, but you'll notice the benefits. You'll notice the benefits, and maybe I'll, you know, basically. You know, you can monitor yourself. You say, right, this food, I'm eating this food. I would
say, if you want, like, if you think, like, because I think vegan, and then I just think boring food.
No, not at all.
Rabbit food. Like, I'm just going to be nibbling on cucumbers and lettuce and
great salads.
Like, for some reason, it's like, when I think vegan, like, prior to this conversation, I just think vegan equals boring. But it's not, because I look at your Instagram, and, like, those dishes that you share on there, they're like I don't know, they don't look like they're missing anything.
They're like restaurant food. I mean, some of them are like really, it's like restaurant food, and you pay.
I strongly suggest, if you want any inspiration, to go to Eco.
I heard that, guys.
The link for it's in the description of my video, but he's got like tons of inspiration on there to get you
for vegan, vegan dishes, and there's so many options. Like, say, one, you know, you can take you know, rice paper rolls. You can, you know, fill them up. You can make, you know, there's so many different options. You know, you can even make, you know, if you're more into if you want to feel like a pizza now and again, you just make a vegan pizza. You know, it doesn't have to have the ingredients. Even cakes can be vegan as well. So, you know, you're missing a bit of sweet stuff now and again, or so-called sweet stuff, but now and again. So there's lots of, if you check them out, there's a lot of posts there. And I would certainly recommend, not only my channel, but there's a lot of vegans out there, especially check out Vegan Community London. Because they've got a bit nice channel there, a lot of content, and there's so many. I mean, there's so many channels doing vegan now. But also, if you just put a, you know, hashtag and then vegan dishes, you know, you'll have a list thousands of posts. So, you know, if you ever you're just like, what am I going to eat tonight, you know, then boom, just hit Instagram, because it's so, you know, so simple basically, you know. And the thing is, actually, I could probably say that, you know, your range becomes wider, because you're not eating the same foods now ever again. Chips and pies and chips and kebabs and chips. You know, you're not eating that same food all the time. So, you know, you can really vary your diet. With veganism, you probably vary your diet more so than if you're eating food, you know.
What about cheese?
Stay away from it, guys.
Okay, but like, if you say you can't stay away from cheese, like Jason told me a really interesting story earlier on today. Jason of the Dietary, he said like he used to be like really into cheese, like super into cheese, and like he's been like a vegan for a while now, and he hasn't had cheese. And he says like now when he smells cheese, he smells like feels sick.
Yeah, because it's
But cheese is something that I would be like, what would be an alternative? Is there like vegan cheese?
There may be vegan cheese out there. I wouldn't recommend it though because it's I would just eliminate it basically, and I would try to find an alternative to
like what?
Hummus. Hummus is a great one. You can use that as a spread on a sandwich, you know, with salads. I mean, great dips. You can use hummus. You can use guacamole. You can use salsa. You can use, as a filler for a sandwich, or as a, as a taste, for your taste buds. But hummus is great. You can get Moroccan hummus.
Like cream
you can
and yogurt and stuff, like yogurt. What would
it's
be
still dairy. Oh no!
So what could a vegan have to replace the yogurt? So say you were going to make, I don't know what you would make, but say you wanted strawberries and cream. Now you're a vegan. What are you going to have for the cream?
It's still dairy, sorry.
So you're just going to have the strawberries.
But you can do that. I mean, if you look again, if you research this, there are alternatives for that. There's there's vegan ice cream. So if there's vegan ice cream, there must be vegan yogurt.
Oh right, so there is such a thing.
Yeah, there must be. But I wouldn't. I can't recommend it because I don't know. You'd really have to research it whether it is still non-dairy. Because I would suggest that some of these products are still dairy.
If anyone's a vegan in the chat room and wants to give handy tips and hints to anyone that's looking into this subject, please help, because I would need help for like cheese and ice cream.
Yeah, there's ice cream, vegan ice cream. It's out there. It's quite. I think Haagen-Dazs. Sorry, I'm not endorsing here, but they do, and all the the regular ones, they do vegan ice creams and all that. So it's definitely there, and there probably are like I don't eat yogurt or anything like that, so I can't really say for sure. But you can research that for yourself. There are alternatives, but again, you have to really check whether it is actually in fact vegan or not. So, do a bit of research on that online, or as you're buying the product. Right. So basically, the standpoint I'm coming from with veganism is that we don't have to have such a waste of food. We don't have to have over-processed over and over again for meat production. If we reduce all that, of course, we'll get we can get back to a more simpler lifestyle. But if we reduce all that, we can actually feed the whole world system. We can feed everyone. And from my standpoint, everybody should have the basics: shelter, food, and water equally. Everybody should have that access to that. There may be different situations or different like villages and cities or whatever, but everybody should have the equal access to that. Now, getting on to that, how can we also change?
Oh wait, someone's just said, what about beer?
Vegan, we just talked about that earlier. There are vegan beers, and we were actually talking about this. This is Germany has a very strict law towards the processing of beer. So all of the natural beer, most of the beers produced in Germany are all natural, especially the Weiss beers. If you look at a Weiss beer, what's called a white beer, they are non-chemical and they're all natural products. Germany, I can't say for other countries, but having lived in Germany, I'm fully, I understand, I'm familiar with their laws. This is
vegan, yeah?
That's vegan. That is vegan. That is vegan. And I think there are brands, certain brands of beers that are vegan. You'd have to check that. Don't take my word for it. But certainly the Weiss beers, the Dunkels, things like that. If you check, but I know Germany has a very strict law for all foods, not only with beer, but they have a very strict law as far as manufacturing of beers, etc. And what they do, they in Germany, I think Czechoslovakia may be similar, Austria may be similar as well, but they have they say there's no chemical process, the natural process, fermentation, etc. But certainly the Weiss beer, Erdinger is a good one. I'm going to not producing it, not endorsing it. There are many products out there. Certainly there are beer, you can get, and there are many.
That one there is my favorite.
There are many microbreweries as well that are vegans. So again, look at that, have a look at that. So you don't have to miss out, guys. If I just like tonight on a Saturday, whatever, I might have one or two. not a big drink, but I might have one, you know, one or two, and especially the taste of that. Because I mean, you said earlier when you had a sip of that, it's like whoa, whoa.
It was like walking through a meadow on a summer's day. I'm telling you. In fact, now I've finished my tea, I can carry on with it. Yeah.
So have a look at it. Yeah. Look at that, and I think all the supermarkets they do it. And
there's an app called Veggie Beers which you can install. Yeah. Thanks, Jason.
So certainly have a look at all the.
Okay, so what animal products are used in the production of beer typically? Why would beer not be vegan in the first?
There are some enhancers, flavor enhancers, and there are some.
So what would be
speed? Like speed. No, this is also vegan. I think there are certain brands, even top brands.
Okay.
You can look at. I think somebody posts. There's certain posts online of that on Instagram. Some are vegan, some are not. Some are vegan, so it goes by the brand. But with the brands that are not vegan, they do like they speed up the process of the fermentation with chemicals. So and there's some of those chemicals do have animal products in them. So you know you'd have to research that yourself. I can't go into it. We don't have time to do all that now, but you know have a look at it yourself. So that basically, I'm going to take about 10 minutes for questioning from the chat if you want to ask some questions. But I just want to finish with the point. The reason why I'm involved with this, and the reason why I'm doing it, is that to end world hunger. We don't need this. All this food taken from countries that don't have this food. They don't have this food for themselves. They have enough for themselves. Why are we stealing food from them when we don't need it? We have enough food. We have. There's an absolute in America. Only familiar, and all the Western countries. There's too much. Yeah, there's abundance of food. We don't need to take food from third world countries. That food should be for themselves. Yeah, and you know, I'm not the only one saying this. There are many people online doing this. There's actually, if you research this a bit more, there are a lot of channels doing really good work as far as this is concerned. And not only saying, you know, we need not only discussing this, but also giving alternatives, you know, alternatives with, you know, permaculture and things like that. So, you know, sustainable lifestyles. The angle I'm coming from is that we can end world hunger, number one, and we can get back to a simpler way of life. And we can actually, again, I'm coming from an eco standpoint, Eco Dave, that's why my name as well. Eco standpoint, we can start to live eco-friendly lifestyles. We can start to live sustainable lifestyles. Now, I'm going to make a kind of point. It's in my opinion only. Again, other people are saying it, but we cannot go on with this. There's such a scale of overproduction and over-processing of the land. There will be a tipping point. I don't know when. Can't predict the future, sorry. But if you read, you know, if you do your research, you know, even it's happening now, you know, volcanoes, earthquakes, you know, there's an imbalance. We have to maintain that balance, you know, with nature, because nature provides all that we need. So we need to give back as well. We need to protect nature. So then, in my opinion, there will be a tipping point. Now, what are you going to do in places like London, New York, Los Angeles, Stockholm, or, you know, Sydney or whatever? What are you going to do when things switch off? Because there's only enough food. This whole system that we live in is a 3-day system. It's the internet or whatever, or because of natural disasters, whatever, you know, or on a bigger scale, if there's a tipping point and things get even more, I'm going to say things happen on a more rapid scale, we won't have the access to food then. So we've got to pull back now. Even the UN is saying this. We've got to pull back and start taking care of our environment, basically, yeah? But there might be a tipping point coming down the road if we don't kind of, you know, and we can do, now the thing is people say, oh, you know, we can do that later, or, you know, everybody else or whatever. If everybody does it, then we can change it. It starts with individual. It definitely starts with individual. You can do it. You can choose yourself, you know, you can choose your lifestyle. But again, I don't make predictions or whatever, or try not to. And I constantly put a timeline, or whatever, because there's a lot of information out there. But in my opinion, there might come to a point where there may be a tipping point, where we won't be able to farm like that anymore. You know, so what I would suggest then, you've got to start looking at eco-friendly lifestyle, small communities, looking after themselves, getting back, learning how to farm yourself, grow food. And it's not difficult, guys. You know, a lettuce can regrow itself. You basically, you use the top, and you put it in water, it can regrow. So you can recycle that. There are some vegetables you can actually recycle. You use it, and then you basically, it regenerates itself. Again, you have to look into that. So, but we can actually go back to farming. We can actually, certainly in places like Scotland, Harry, Jason, down your neck of the woods, we can actually start looking at places like that where we can actually, small cooperatives, where we can, and once you grow your own food, then you're sustainable, and you're self-sustainable.
That's
the own food, and then, you know, after the first season, 3 to 6 months, then you just replant. And this is what, in my opinion, again, my humble opinion, don't take my word for it, guys, just to have what I've researched and what I've seen, is that I think at some point they're going to be small communities, almost like tribal, like villages becoming, as they do in the third world, but we may come to that point where we may need to do that on a smaller scale, basically. And with permaculture, and with basically with you know, different methods of farming, sustainable methods, we don't need to, you know, over process the land. Basically, we could actually, you know, the simpler ways to do things. There are simpler ways to actually do things, in my opinion. Again, you know, take a look at that, and then, you know, decide for yourself, basically. You know? All right. Sorry. We'll for the next 10 minutes, we'll take some questions from the chat. If you want to send in the questions, you know.
Yeah, and I'm just letting the chat room know that after this
Roxanne,
live,
myself,
we're going to be coming back about 10 minutes later with the next very important.
Well, not very important. No, just another chat. Well,
it still comes under globalist denial, doesn't it?
Yeah,
really.
Definitely.
It all encompasses under. So we're going to be coming back 10 minutes after
10,
another one.
20, 10, 15 minutes. Yeah.
And in the meantime, if any of you want to reach out and ask Dave or myself any questions about anything that's been discussed this evening, you're more than welcome to. I would stress, if you could put the question in capitals and end it with a question mark, then I'll be able to decipher it amongst everything else that's being said. If
you've got any questions, I can certainly help you out with links, guys. Because if you want to look at permaculture or things like that, you can email me and I'll send you, the link or whatever, or in the comment section of my videos. I can't promise I'll answer everyone, but I'll certainly take it.
Of soap and shampoo that isn't full of chemicals?
Good question. Very good question. You can make your own soap. I mean, if you have your your own lifestyle basically, or you have the ability to do that, you can actually make your own soap. I certainly wouldn't advise using any chemical shampoos, any chemical soaps. You can buy aloe vera soaps, pure, natural, 100%. There's no chemicals in there. But they're all just like the tooth powder I mentioned. There are soaps that are all natural, no chemical additives, basically. Yeah, and same with shampoos. So you can certainly have a look at that. Mm-hmm. But again, online there are many different alternatives for basically there are many alternatives that are pure alternatives. Again, with soap or with shampoos, I would stay clear from shampoos. I would just use, natural products and there are many there. You can use as an alternative for shampoo that you get in the supermarket. There are other alternatives for washing your hair, etc. So yeah, there's a lot out there, guys. You can check it out.
I've got a couple of other things that have been said. He says, if the supermarkets didn't exist, how much nutrient could you get from grass, considering animals live on it? And I don't mean the smoking type of grass. How much nutrient would we be?
No, you'd have to grow your own crops. You'd have to grow your own vegetables. And again, like I said, lettuce regenerates itself. You basically just cut off you cut off what you need to use, and then just put it back in water and it just regrows. Some vegetables regrow like that. Or you just have you basically plant the the crops in a cycle, basically. Or you get your nutrients from all your veggies and whatever. The milk doesn't go through like that. The cow gets the nutrients and then passes on its product, but it doesn't mean you're getting those nutrients from a
And
lot of
I
those
think it
nutrients
goes
are
into
lost.
what we were saying,
Yeah,
if we didn't
so-
have to devote so much land to feeding the animals,
Wow, it's incredible.
then
80%.
we would be able to get a lot of nutrients from that as humans,
Yeah,
instead of them eating it.
Yeah, the thing is that, you know, there's only a certain cycle with, you know, with certain grains that animals eat. So it might, you know, may take longer with wheat and whatever. But we could actually do it, you know, with one season, crop season for the grains that they eat, like 6 months, we could actually have 2 seasons. So there would be less cultivation of the land. And because you're doing a cyclic crop rotation, you know, this season one vegetable, next season another vegetable, it actually regenerates the land. Whereas if you're just processing the land over and over again with just grains, after about 10 years, the land is, you know, depleted basically. But 80%, guys, 80% of all food production goes to feeding animals, and they're force fed. So it's you know, again, I'm sorry if I'm just being a bit, you know, kind of saying this many times, but look into this. We don't need to have that system. If you stop eating, we can end world hunger. We can end world hunger on an individual basis. If all the youngsters say, right, we're not eating animals anymore, all the kiddies, you know, the kids, their parents say, why, I'm not feeding animals to my kids anymore. My body, there's another post I put on mine, it's not a tomb for dead products, because an animal, once it's processed, it's dead. I would actually argue another way, there's no nutrients in dead food.
No.
But in live food, raw food, there's plenty of nutrients.
Actually, someone just said, don't boil your veggies, as the water leaches out the minerals from them. You should bake
raw.
them in the oven.
Stay raw if you can.
I've got a couple of other really interesting comments from Flat Earth Boxer.
Yeah.
Sorry, sweetheart, you've written quite a few. And I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'm domesticated by the beast system.
Education, guys.
And then he says,
should be educated how to farm crops, etc.
He says, what are your thoughts? Youngsters. What are your thoughts on the possibility that petroleum? What are your thoughts on the possibility that petroleum isn't drilled from the earth?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's a topic for another hangout. Maybe I don't want to bounce between topics. You know, we're talking about vegan lifestyle here, but I would certainly say, from the farming aspect, stay away from, you know, chemical fertilizer and things like that. You can do it in a natural way.
There's a couple of people in the chat room that are concurring with veganism, saying they're 100% vegan.
Give it a go, guys. You've got nothing to lose. You've got nothing to lose.
Yep.
2 months, 3 months. If you don't like it, just go back to the old, you know, you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know?
I
think we'll go on a little bit longer with this, because there seems to be quite a few questions. We'll go another 10 so minutes with this, yeah?
Yeah. Get an allotment, plenty going to take on.
Wow, if you taste vegetables that are great, you grow your own. Wow. They taste so good.
I had Trinity 4 and his wife here, and they had some plums that they had grown, and
not supermarket. But the point I want to make, I just started talking about eco communities. If anybody's interested in that, please drop me a link on my channels. On YouTube is fine, but probably the best way is like an email on my Instagram. If you're interested in this and you have some ideas about this, or you want to kind of invest your time or money or whatever into that, I do have kind of contacts that are looking into different locations and things like that. So if you're interested in that and you want to put input, or you want to live in one of those communities, certainly send me an email, or send, you know, you can certainly send me an email with that, and I'll get back to you. Deciding what you're eating and your lifestyle. So again, you know, I'm certainly active in this. So if you're interested to talk about this, or if you're interested in questions, or you're interested, again, I'm reaching out to the big guys with the money. If anybody's out there and who wants to, you know, basically, you know, look at this, and maybe, you know, somebody who's interested in making these kind of communities, again, as a tax break or anything like that, or on an eco level, you know, you're interested in this, again, you know, I've got quite a few contacts, and I've got contacts that have got contacts, you know, people who know a lot about this, you know. So, you know, if you're certainly interested in this and doing these communities, you know, get in touch. Again, you can get in touch with Roxanne or with Harry. It's fine as well.
I don't know if it encompasses underneath this subject, but
Richard Branson, these big boys, I mean, this is what you should be looking at, making these kind of communities, because it's going to come down to that, basically.
Yeah. Someone was asking about, I don't know if it's in this subject, someone was asking about BCG. Why does it leave a scar? I don't know if that's in this subject, but they were asking why does BCG.
What is he? I mean, what is he relating BCG? What is
the injection that most kids get when they're about 14? It's like a big punctured.
Yeah, I think guys, I think that's another. I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't give you any medical advice. Disclaimer, total disclaimer. Vaccines might be another topic, another hangout, but not tonight or not today, but maybe another hangout. But you can research it. Go online, check it out.
Someone's saying, is there a possibility that the petroleum that was drilled from the earth, that it's actually derived from plants, not drilled from the ground?
Well, I mean, if you go, I mean, again, this is another topic. Sorry, guys, we're not going to get into this now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The chat room. Yeah, I think we should come back on another time to speak about this.
Okay, yeah, because I think we touched on other topics.
Yeah.
What we're trying, and what we do on future hangouts, will remain topic focused.
Yeah.
Because these hangouts, I mean, I've watched a lot of hangouts. And they go here, there, and everywhere.
To hear what people are interested. So maybe we'll try and angle another hangout to talk about these things more specifically.
Yeah,
and give everyone better
so what I need, usually I watch up to an hour on YouTube. That's it, basically. Yeah. So I like to to remain on topic. So in my future, in our future, well, I don't speak for Roxanne, but in future hangouts that I may do, we'll remain on topic for each one, and then you can just have a look at the topic, different topics like that. Because I know when I go on a hangout. And it's 3 hours long, and some hangouts are interesting because they do cover many topics, fine, but they seem to go around the houses, and it seems to take forever to get to the point. So I want to really because an hour is a good length of time. I really want to stay focused and on point. So with that, guys, we'll come back in about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
There might be more after the next one. It could be 4. It depends how long.
It
depends.
We've got so much to talk about. So yeah, thank you so much for all tuning in.
All right, guys. So check out, please. Look into vegan lifestyle, and I highly recommend it to anybody. It's not a big adjustment. Have a look, especially if you're an adult with kids. Really, if you can get them started on a vegan lifestyle at a young age, you could really stop a lot of troubles further down the road. And you could it could be the best thing that you give to your child, because when when the child is becomes an adult, 20, 30, 40, you may have prevented many things basically. So I'd recommend to parents that have just starting out, or have a family, have kids, have a look into this. Yeah. And certainly if you don't do it for yourself, because you're responsible. I know a lot of parents have done this with their children. You should see the difference. Wow. You should see the difference with kids that are not on dairy and meat and kids that are vegan. So you should see the difference with the kids that are on meat and dairy and the kids that aren't, the kids that are vegan. You get you see them, they're just sluggish, and they don't want to do anything. They get all these mood swings and all of that. It's all the vaccines and they're putting into cows basically. And then you see kids are, I tell you, it's just worlds apart. So with that, guys, if you're out for the next one.
We'll see you in 10. All right.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye.